Working on a weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes.
Thank y'all for tuning in to From the 7 podcast, where we bring a different perspective for the mindsets to the real world. I'm your boy Deuce, always here with my right-hand man, Stat. We got a special guest in the house today, ex-UNC, ex-Seton Hall. Y'all might know her as Jocelyn, but I know her as JoJo. Welcome to the 7.
What up, what up? Thank y'all for having me, for real. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Today we're going to dive into a deep look of a female hooper trying to make it to the highest level. Y'all really got to tap into this, man, because as a male hooper, a lot of times we love the game, but also we love what it can do for us. As a female, you really got to love the game because you just don't get the same return on your grind. And we also going to talk about the uncomfortable truths of female and male hoopers, a lot of things that us as males don't have to think about when we playing ball. Before we get into all that, though, quick announcements.
Yep, guys, so make sure you subscribe to Stat TV YouTube page. That's where all the episodes will be dropping. You can also follow From the 7 podcast on Instagram. You can follow me at StatZay, follow Deuce at _Deuce West. And as always, we appreciate all the love and support. We're pushing right now. Our goal is to get 1,000 subscribers. So if you like the content, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and send it to a friend. We got Stat merch. Link is in my bio. From the 7 merch is on the way. But yeah, again, we appreciate all the love and support. And it's going to be a good episode, man. So just make sure that you guys keep tapping in with us, and let's keep growing this and getting it to more people.
Yes, we'll also have JoJo's Instagram and where you can find her below.
Yep.
But before that happens, we want to get into the introduction of JoJo. So JoJo, let the people know who you are and how your upbringing was coming up.
Yeah, so like Deuce was saying, female hooper, hooped at Cosby High School. After high school, went over to UNC Chapel Hill, go Tar Heels. Went there, graduated early. Got that degree, and then went off to Seton Hall for a year for my graduate year, and then I finished off at University of D.C., which is not too far from home. So yeah, love the game, been always about it, but ready to tell my story.
Absolutely, and I know you were playing at those schools during times where there was some nice male hoopers, so we're gonna get into that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say the most challenging thing for you was growing up as far as the different perspective of being a female hooper?
Well, my problem was that I had a dude's mentality. Mm-hmm. So I had to figure out, all right, playing with guys growing up because, I was just so physical and so athletic. So trying to get better, but knowing that sometimes I just played to my competition's level. Mm-hmm. So my hardest thing was, one, making sure I played at the highest level, no matter what my competition was. And then two, my mental. they always say mental toughness. Yeah, I was tough physically, but mental toughness, I was a hothead. Mm. I had attitude. I was cussing my teammates out, all that stuff. So it's all right, I admit one thing go wrong and I'm JoJo blowing up. And so I got a rep for that. So it was getting out of that reputation and still trying to maintain and find who I am as a young woman, as a young Black woman. Mm-hmm. And so, like you said in the beginning, it's a whole different type of grind, a whole different type of struggle, and struggle not as in okay, I'm trying to make it out the hood, trying to make it for my family, but, struggling as I'm trying to make it pro. I'm trying to be the best that I can be be a well-known hooper. And so, it's just figuring, just navigating through those ways. So,
would you say, when was it, did you always play with guys when you came up, or what was your introduction into basketball as far as was it going to the parks, or where did you get into the game of competing? Yeah,
so I remember it was YMCA, right across from Manchester Middle. I was playing there in the little leagues that we had, because we had soccer and then we had basketball. And so I think I was about 6 or 7, and that age, it was co-ed. So on my team it was all guys, and I was the tallest girl on the team, And you know how dudes do when they see a girl out, like, oh, like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
like, you know, just the automatically stereotype of like, oh, she can't hoop. But slowly but surely, as I started figuring it out, and I pick up stuff quick. So once I started figuring it out, and then like me, especially when I was younger, I always liked that oohs and ahs. So it's like, oh, she nice. Even at 7 years old. So I was like, oh, okay, I might be good at this. Like,
was you working on your game at that time when you was feeling like that, or like what made you get that confidence to go out there and do that?
I just had it. Like I was later on. I would say right around middle school when I started to transition and like going down to play for Boo and everything like that. When I realized like, oh shoot, I can go to college for this. But when around 6 to 7, I was just playing. I just had that. I just always been a confident kid in myself, kind of. So anything I tried to do, I was like, I'm gonna get after it. Like,
how was a question for you? Because again, me and Stat story, we didn't have anybody that was kind of like helping us or even brought the potential out of us to want to be better. Did you have a good support system?
I had a support system, but I really had, it was a little bit of pressure because Dad went to University of Colorado to play football. Mom, high jumper, University of Arizona, ex-Olympian, ex-World Games.
Jeez.
Like, mom, like literally got the call yesterday. She told me she's about to get inducted into the Hall of Fame of Pac-12.
Damn,
So it's in your blood. It's in your blood.
It's in my blood.
It's in
like,
your blood, yeah.
I had no choice. Like, you know, the support was there, but I was like, I got these parents. You know, Dad went to the Orange Bowl.
That's
Like,
tough.
I was like, oh, I got to be good. Because I thought, like, I had greatness, like you said, in my blood. So I had no choice. So it was, I had that support system from my family, but a lot of it did come from within where I was just like, oh, I'm motivated to, like, I'm trying to be the best. Like, I mean, Mom's an Olympian. Like, that's like the highest that you can get. So I'm like, okay, I need to do something.
What were the, I guess going to high school, because you went to Cosby. That was a fairly new school. For those watching, if you're not from Richmond, Cosby came around in what year was that? You remember?
So I think it was around either 2010 or like 2010.
No, it had to be like 2008, 2009, because we actually played Cosby at Meadowbrook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm
Troy,
I didn't.
Well, you didn't. Yeah. Shout out Troy, man. Troy Copain went to Cosby. So we had played Cosby. So I think it was probably around 08, 07. But I guess the question I was going to ask you was, how was it being at a new school and being a successful female hooper, because you went to UNC off of that.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like you was sorry. So, like, did you feel the love of people supporting you as your peers during that time?
Yeah. So, like, funny story, I committed in 8th grade. So
you committed to UNC in 8th grade?
At 8th grade, I committed to UNC.
That's our dream.
Man, look, just look real quick, just for everybody that's watching, like, I grew up wanting to go to UNC. I know you did as well. So, like, this is crazy right now. Go ahead.
Yes, I committed in 8th grade. So going to high school, it was kind of like, all right, I had that hype behind my name, and like from just being in middle school. So going into Cosby, you know, Cosby had that rep of, you know, all right, this is a good girls team. And I was like, okay, I wanted to play with them because we had Coach Rachel Mead, great coach, and they were so close to like winning like states, but they were missing something. So, you know what some high schools do, they do a little extra recruiting and everything like that. So I literally had my options open because I thought about going to Princess Anne, down in the water.
Damn.
And then I thought about Highland Springs. So it's Highland Springs, Princess Anne, and Cosby.
Yo, hold up. These are, if you got those options as a player, like just as a hooper, like you are being recognized as somebody who is a hooper on the floor. Like, people want you if those are your options. Like, that's, shout out to you for that though, because like we would have loved that type of, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, even talking about your story, like having the opportunity to maybe go to Benedictine, like the fact that this was something going into high school that was an option for you, that means like you really put in that work to be noticed on that level. And that speaks a lot about like who you were as a player and at an early age. Like that's dope.
And real quick, the guys that's watching that's not from Virginia, that's not familiar with Princess Anne, that's just like you getting from Oak Hill. Like Oak Hill wants you to come play and you live in Colorado. Like, that's how that feels. So just going back what Stat said, props to you because you put in that work regardless of 7th grade YMCA league. Like you was doing something to get noticed. So that goes a long way.
Yeah. I mean, that's like what I try to, like sometimes thinking about, like, and this is a great opportunity because it's helping me reflect on, you know, just that journey. Because sometimes, especially, well, y'all know because y'all a little older than me, so y'all be probably reflecting a little bit.
Damn,
like
she just
more,
called us old.
you know, I'm not, you know, honestly,
I'll be 45 next week.
But yeah, so I'm just really taking time to like self-reflect. And what I don't do sometimes is while I'm in the journey, I'm not really thinking about what's going on. So it's like now that I'm older, I am out the game for a little bit. And I look back, I'm like, dang, like, okay, I had a little something going on. Like y'all said, like I did put in a lot of work because these schools did want, like, were coming after me. And was like, hey, like, we want you to come to your school. Like, literally, I'm in 8th grade. Like, that's like being recruited, just like you going to college. And so, especially with UNC, me committing to UNC, that brought a lot of attention. But, you know, decided to go to Cosby, and it was over after my freshman year. That was like a year, you know, like a year where you're trying to figure stuff out and like, how do I fit into a system? How do other girls fit with me and everything like that? It was a little rocky, like I said. Like, my attitude was still a little iffy at that time too. So just trying to just work on like different personalities and stuff like that. But after first year, we ran the table last 3 years. So
y'all won championships those last 3 years?
3 years in a row.
Wow.
1 year we were undefeated, 26-0.
So were you there? How many years were you there with Troy?
Troy, 1 year. So
he was a senior.
He was a senior when I was a freshman.
So
yeah.
he an old head too. Troy, you old. but yeah, so going into it, you know what I'm saying, going into that high school, a lot of pressure was off you. Me and Stat talk about this all the time. Like, that's already a different perspective already. And I spoke on this before about like young guys now, when they commit, the pressure is off. You know, I can wear my shirt and do all this stuff. You were coming in from a middle school kid knowing you was going to UNC. So the game was just free. You was out there really just hooping. On the other hand, we out here thinking, dag, we have to play harder because no coach is even looking at us right now, which took a lot of pressure, put a lot of pressure on us, I would say. So having that freedom allowed you to go and transition into UNC. So when you got to UNC, was basketball different because it was pressure again, or was it just like you still had that same mentality that you just hooping?
Well, it was different because it's the ACC. Like, I mean, I would put a stamp on it right now. The best basketball conference in the country, hands down. I mean,
men and women?
Men and women.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I say both ways because every night you playing top talent. And like the biggest thing for me, and it took me a little bit because of course with my accolades in high school, I was that girl. Like, okay, I got it. Like I would say I was feeling myself. Like going into UNC.
Hold up, for the people that don't know, real quick, let them know like what. I mean, you won the championship, and I understand because the part of this platform is we want to give people their flowers, and like I appreciate you saying like it's dope reflecting on it. So like for the people that don't know, like you went to UNC, so like we needed to give them a reason to understand like why that was. Like what were those accolades in high school?
Yeah, hold on, let me think. I'm just kidding. No, so I've been a regional player of the year, conference player of the year. So I ran like pretty much. So shout out to Dorothy and Tyra. Those are my right and left hands. You know, once Dorothy left and it was just me and Tyra pretty much ran the boards and like all accolades when it came to that. Like I was conference player. She was like, and then she'll be first team. I was first team all conference, first team all state, 3 years in a row. I was Metro player. I was on the Metro team. I think my first team my senior year, second team my junior year, or might have been first team my junior year, and then third team. So I went third, second, first. Yeah, it was like that progression. And then I was a McDonald's All-American nominee. Wow. And then I'm trying to think. You know, I tried for USA 1 year. That was a great experience. But yeah, I mean, that was it. I mean, it's nothing like too heavy because, you know, I got to shout out my girl Megan Walker because, you know, we pushed each other. So give her all her flowers because she deserves it. But
For sure.
Shout out Meg Walker.
yeah, Meg Walker. And then like, because I mean, I got to do a little side thing because I'm all about, like y'all said, give flowers. Like,
oh yeah, give them.
We was running like during my time, and I feel old saying that, but during my time, like
she didn't went from calling us old,
Right.
Troy old. Now she old.
You
we
know,
all old.
We all old. Let's forget it. We all old. But women's basketball was like that. Like during that 2012 to about 2016, because I think I graduated in 16, 15 or 16, I can't remember. But women's basketball was really heavy, especially in Richmond. And what Richmond did a great job at was highlighting that. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it was more talk about me, Megan, and Taja Cole. Shout out to Taja. They was talking about us just as much as they was talking about the boys playing. Because we would, like, our games used to be packed. Like, us against Monacan, like, they want to see me and Meg, like, go against each other. They want to see that matchup. And I love playing against Meg every single time, like, because, you know, it's just growing up with her and then knowing how, like, you just, like, of course, y'all know, like, playing against good talent, like, it really shows, all right, what you made of. And so
it bring out a different type of game. Like, you play a different type of play. Like, you do what you do, but it's different when you have those matchups like that.
Yes, like I said, like, it was no love during the game, but all love after, you know. Sure. And so, like, I've known Meg and Taja since we was fifth, sixth grade, and like we played against each other all the way. And like that's why, you know, I think that made all of us better because we were just so good. And so it's like no one was outshining, like no one was jealous of like not having a spotlight that week. Because one week, you know, I might go off and have my game, and then next week Meg might go off. We got to that Taja going off. And so it's just like always interesting just to see how heavy during that time women's basketball was in the city of Richmond. And it was like, it was crazy. Like,
and this might be a little bit before your time because you calling everybody old, but even when we was in school, man, I had such a good time and found joy in watching the women that was coming up when we was coming up. Like, shout out Crystal Smith. Yes. We had Deja, Lacey, Tori.
We had front row seats to Crystal Smith.
Then when Kalia came on the scene, it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Kalia, shout out my best friend Tam. Tam was a hooper too. Yeah. So I get what you're saying because it was a buzz around Meadowbrook when Crystal and them was running the show. Yeah. It won't just us. Like, it was like, nah, we about to go. Crystal mixing people up and stuff. Deja was like almost like Shaq almost. So like it was tough. So I understand, and I wish a lot of people would do this more, which is appreciate the women's game because it's a lot you can get from it. Like, I won't sit in there like, oh, okay, I really was learning. Like, Crystal taught me a couple moves. I ain't gonna hold you. Yeah. So like, that's dope.
She had that attitude and that energy on that court, man. She brought a different energy to the game, man.
Yeah.
That was what I liked about seeing her play.
Yep. And Kalia too, because
Kalia as well,
quick little short story, Kalia came to open gym with us one time. Because remember her brother went to Thomasdale?
I wasn't familiar with that.
Okay. Well, her brother went to Thomasdale, and they came to open gym because we used to have like on weekends, whatever. And she was on the court with us, and I never look at a woman and say, I'm about to try to go at her. I respect her just how I respect anybody else. I did get mad though. I did get mad because her brother, you know, it's her brother. Yeah. He said, "Man, take him." And take that from him, and I'm like, all right,
straight
now
disrespected you.
Now, all right, now I'm getting pissed off, but not at her, but at him.
Right.
But just seeing that and seeing how it's no different. Like we all want to put the ball in the hoop. Exactly. There's no difference between the two. It's really not.
Yeah, for sure.
So I appreciate you saying all that because people need to understand that like the women's game is exciting. You know what I'm saying?
And I think too, man, the relationship between hoopers when it's like that, like going to Crystal and them games like that. The love was so mutual with that because we understood that people outside of that didn't really get it. Even if they showed love, they didn't understand it. But like as a hooper, you could really appreciate the game. And like for you being a Kobe fan, that was what we saw him do.
Yep.
And I think women appreciate that a lot because Kobe is the perfect person to be the person that really like was in the women's game like that and show that love because we all can relate to that as hoopers. And it's just not, I mean, we're still kind of fighting for that love to be mutual between the women's game and the men's game. But if you a hooper, you already understand. Like, I mean, you look at anybody, the guys that's in the NBA right now, they all have the same, you know, energy about when somebody asks them about the women's game. They're like, no, those my people. Like, we understand the same things. And so for us, like you say, man, having Crystal and Kalia and all of those people, like, it was dope being able to experience, like, the game from their perspective. Absolutely. And they appreciated us appreciating that, you know what I mean?
So when you got to UNC, I always wanted to know this because, again, we were big UNC fans. We wanted to go to UNC. Was it everything that you imagined it to be when you first stepped foot on campus?
Well, when I stepped foot on campus, I was like, I'm free. Like, I've never, like, when they say college is like some of the best years of your life, I took that to the nth degree because I said, freshman years, I didn't even start school yet. I came in a week early and I was like, oh yeah. Like,
Running it up.
Right. And I said, oh, I'm gonna like this. I was like, oh, you mean I could do, I ain't got no bedtime. Mom's not calling.
Yeah.
Oh, I can pick and shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, I was out. Like, it was crazy. And then when I had practice, I said, oh snap, I went out last night and I gotta wake up and go to practice the next day. And I was, and now we added class over the summer. You mean I gotta wake up, go practice, work out, then go to class? They talking about practice. I'm talking about class. Like, go to class. And so, like, just quick insight, I came in as a biomechanical engineer, like, major. Like, I was taking school serious. I was like, all right, so I'm taking biology as a first year in the summer, and I just stepped on campus. So, it was no slacking. Like, I was hitting the ground running. There was no, let me breathe, let me take a second, let me really take this in. Like, no. Like I said, I came a week early, had my little fun, and then day one, I was like, whew, okay, this is how it is. Like, I heard what it was gonna be like, but they ain't tell me this part, and I think we all have that little shock factor when we go in, because no matter how much they tell you, I know I was hard-headed, so I'm like, oh, Joe, you gotta make sure you stay on this, you gotta make sure you work. Well, yeah, I know, I hear you. I was like, no, like, you really gotta, like, get after, like, first day of practice ain't no, oh, let's sit here and, like, let's introduce ourselves and, like, oh, okay, let's
take home a syllabus.
Right.
First day, we're going to be good, right? Nah, you running.
Like, running. And I was like, run. And once again, I let inside, I don't do that. I did not run. I did not run in high school. But they made you run in college because, and I forgot the court was bigger at college. I said, you mean this?
I know all about that, man. That transition is real.
That transition, yo. And it don't matter how much, like, you talk about it until you do it. Yeah. Like,
so was your freshman year, how was it on the court? Did you play? Or how was that?
So coming in, once again, I did have a little hype around me. We had a really interesting class coming in. And Summer was like, all right, Joe, like, you got opportunity. So I'm like, bet. I'm prepared. Like, I'm ready. I came in actually I had a procedure done on my left ankle and I had PRP. So PRP is just plasma replacement.
Yep, I got that in my left knee.
Yeah, so I had
helped you out though.
It helped.
Big time.
Oh,
it's real, y'all. It's real.
It's real. Like, I got like 3-4 times. Like, that's how.
Oh, okay.
That's how good. Like, I love PRP. So I got it the first time. So I was a little behind. Coming in, but I was still working out, and like coaches were still like, hey, yo, like, we excited for you to come back. We went overseas to Ireland to play. I didn't play during that time because, like, I was still coming back from just work, like, therapy and stuff like that. But, I had like a little break. It was like right before we went home for break before school started. I had like a great week of practice, and I was like, oh yeah, like, I feel it. I was like, oh, it's about to go down. I was like, y'all better watch out. Like, I was like, in my mind, once again, like, that excellence that's just like instilled in me. I'm like, oh, I'm going after it. Like, so I went home feeling good, come back, first day of practice. I remember caught the ball, top key, and I sweep to go left, and then I hear, I said, who? I thought someone threw a ball at me.
Damn.
I thought my coach threw a ball at me. I was like, who the heck threw a ball at me? And then it hit me. I was like, no one was behind me. And I was like, all right, let me sit down because someone don't feel right. And so, like, they're like, oh no, Joe, we gotta take you to the back. And I'm like, what is going on? Like they knew what was going
instantly
on before I knew. So I'm like, what's going on? And I remember I was laying on the little bench in the training room, and like, they squeeze your calf, and that's how they test your Achilles. They squeezed. I said, shout out to Nicole Alexander. She squeezed my calf, and I said, Nicole, that hurt. She said, Joe, She said, I think you tore your Achilles. I was like, she said, she said, your foot's not moving. I said, yes, it is. Like, I'm trying to move my foot. Like, I'm literally like sitting there trying to move my foot and it's not moving. First day of practice, I tear my Achilles, complete tear.
This is your sophomore year?
My freshman year.
Oh, your freshman year. Oh, my God.
Freshman year, first day of practice, I tear my Achilles. I said, wow. Like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I tear my Achilles. I never heard of like tearing an Achilles. Like, of course, I think Kobe did tear his Achilles before mine, but like, I still didn't really understand like how big of an injury that was.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst injuries for any male or female basketball, or just in any professional sport.
That Achilles.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the worst injuries. But go ahead.
So yeah, they did the X-ray, did MRI, and they said I tore my Achilles, and I was like, all right, like I'll be back, cause I've been injured before. I'm like, I'm gonna be back. Shoot. They said how long? They said 9-12 months. I said what? 9 months. I'm not playing, and I just got here, and I just like I was ready. Like when I told y'all, like I was ready to go, and you mean to tell me now I gotta be out 9 months, miss a whole season? My first season crushed me. Crushed.
Where was you at mentally at that point?
Mentally, I was just like, what am I going to do? Like, it was kind of like, first when I first tore it, I said, okay, you know what? That's okay. Like, I'm gonna get back after. Like, this ain't gonna stop me. Like, this ain't gonna stop me.
Yeah.
And then it like, once I got my surgery and like that pain, the pain of getting the surgery is worse than tearing it. Like, it's totally different pain. Couldn't walk, couldn't run, couldn't do nothing like that. Couldn't even put pressure. And I was like, nah. I said, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to play forever. Like, you know, I was like, an injury like this, I just hope I can get back to half the player I was, because that's, like you said, like that's one of the worst injuries you can get at like for any athlete. For you to try to come back the same is very, very hard. Yeah. So like, yeah, and you see Kobe come back, you see KD come back, but realize they paying people.
Yeah, for sure.
So even though UNC healthcare is like top one of the best, like to try to get me to that same player was just really hard. So I mean, like mentally, like I figured that out, and I was like, dang, like,
because you got so many things running through your mind when you come back from an injury as severe as yours. Am I gonna tear it again?
Exactly.
I can't really move the same, and you know, I'm a big Kobe fan. Like, Kobe wasn't the same.
Exactly.
KD took him some time, but KD is a freakish athlete. Like we probably won't see another scorer like KD. So his game isn't, I'm a high flyer above the rim. But like Derrick Rose, he kept tearing his knees. He ain't trying to jump up there like that no more. Like, he got to find a way to change his game. So were you thinking in the back of your mind, like, I'm really just maybe a spot up shooter for my whole rest of my career? Or like, were you afraid to even try to get your little wiggle back?
When I finally was able to work out again, like you said, I was scared, because I was like, usually when they say someone tear their Achilles, like it's off of like a big movement, so jumping or like sprinting or anything. Like I literally pushed off. Now I do got some big calf muscles, and I drive to the basket with some force, but a simple it was a simple sweep and go. Yeah. And you think about how sweep and goes, like, yeah, that quick explosive, but it's not like that hard power movement. So I'm thinking, dang, something as little as that, and they say like once you tear it, you're more likely to tear that one or the other one.
Yep, because now your body is it's relying on one other strong part in your body. So going back to the PRP, when I got the PRP in my knee, I put no pressure on that. So then I end up twisting my ankle, because now it's like that joint is just weak. Like I'm not even trying to work on it. So I understand exactly what you're saying 1,000%, because the likelihood of you injuring yourself again after injury is very likely. Exactly. Because Kobe came back and then got hurt again.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and that was my biggest thing. And what made it worse was seeing how my team did. Like we was losing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, and I think we talked about this back in Richmond, like, I mean, you were out for a long enough time to where, like, I mean, you came in and you had some hype around you, but like at a certain point, the team got to kind of move on. Like, what was that like?
I mean, it was hard. I mean, because what was hard for me was the fact that I knew I could have made a difference. Like knowing that like I could have made a difference in that game, because like I know like none of y'all like really see me play in person, but like I'm that one person, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do for my team to win. And like I see a missed rebound, I'm like, dang, like I could have grabbed that. Like, okay, that's still like, oh, I could have got that. And so it's like, I should be playing because I would have made a difference. And it's not even about like scoring 30, because I was never, once I got to college, I knew that like, I knew you have to know your role.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and that's so huge. You gotta know your role.
Run that back. For everybody watching, y'all just missed it. She gonna tell them what you just said.
Yeah,
that's a very, very important key in the game of life, but also a very important key in the game of basketball.
Yes, you gotta know your role, because even though I did have that hype around me coming in, I was the first year. So I had girls before that. They were looking for me to score. They didn't really need me to score. They was already balling before I got there. So why does this first year get to come in and then, now like, all right, Joe, you can go ahead and score all the points? No. I had to come in. I had to find a way to get on the court. So my way was defense and rebound. Like,
and not to cut you off, I think that's one of the big differences in the male and female game right there too, because when we look at it now, you're absolutely right. You got to know your role. There's a lot of times where there's a lot of freshmen who come in and that's what they expect, that they think they need to do. And that's what they focus on. And it's some schools, maybe it'll work. All right, he's coming in as a scorer. Maybe we were a little sorry the year before, so we just need some scoring. 9 times out of 10, that's not what they need you to do.
Right.
So players don't understand that, and they come in and they get mentally set back because they like, damn, I'm not scoring the ball.
A lot of guys are transferring because of that. Like, I'm not going to say that's the only reason, but that's a big predicator on guys leaving schools, is that mindset. And I think when we talk about the difference between the male game and the female game, like for you to be as a freshman and have that injury happen, but still understand you got to like know your role. Like that's the difference, man, when we talk about the love of the game, as a woman in the game and for a man, because we got a lot of ego tied to this. And we talked about this already. As a man, we come into it with that mindset of like, oh, no, I got to go where I'm going to be the same I was in high school. And you're saying, no, I got to embrace what it really is because I really love this and I got to find another way to continue to have that love for the game.
But do you know what I think? And George, I'm going to let you go right now. I wanted to ask you this. Do you think that what we talked about earlier in the very beginning when I said what the game can do for you, because women, y'all can't go one and done. Y'all got to play 3 years, right?
I think it's 2 now.
2, but you can go as a junior? Yeah,
you can leave your junior year.
So you can play 2 and then your junior year starts, you can not be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know, like you said, with the ego tied to it, a lot of dudes that come in as high prospect freshmen, the main thing on their mind is I'm a step closer to the NBA. I'm a step closer to taking care of my family. I'm a step closer to getting my mom that house, that car, my chain, all that stuff. So what you saying, Stat, makes sense because people do transfer and they get frustrated, the setback mentally, because they feel like they're getting further away from doing those things. So as a female, y'all don't have that luxury of saying, I'm going to come in as a freshman, first year, do my thing, I'm going to go to WNBA. So the love of the game has to be different. But do you think if you, as a female hooper and female hoopers out there, do you think that it would be different for you guys if you were able to go one and done? Would you have had a different mindset of what you needed to do?
Well, even if we did, we're not getting paid the same.
That's true.
So it don't matter. Like, I don't know. And then some of this happened, and we talked a little bit about this. But like, once I got hurt, my mentality changed. But let's just go back to like, say I never got hurt. I came in, okay, I'm still gonna graduate though, because I know it doesn't even matter if I like the Diana Taurasi's, the Sue Birds, the Breonna Stewarts of the game, they making their money. But you gotta think how long they been in their career. Yeah. And look, all 3 of them, where did they go to school? UConn. Exactly. And so they they might be a little more set, but me, I knew like even if I wanted to go pro, like even if it was overseas or WNBA, I want to go overseas, but I knew I was not going to get paid. And I was raised a certain way. That was making fun of my bag because I just like certain stuff. Like, you know, I like to live a certain lifestyle.
She got
like,
a nice bag, y'all. A nice
the Telfeezy. That Telfeezy. I got that Telfeezy.
You can put a dog in that joint. That's how big
God.
it is.
No, but so it's like, all right, if I want to live a certain lifestyle, if I want to live a certain way, like, I got to get this degree. Like, I have to get this degree no matter what. So my mindset was always finishing in 4. I finished in 3 just because I had a different, like, grind after, you know, certain stuff happened at UNC. But I still got my degree because of what you said. Like, I'm not getting the same thing out the game that dude's getting. Like,
because, I mean, it's a lot of guys that if you're a high lottery pick or just a draft pick in general, if somebody say you can go to the league, some of them dudes don't even go to class the second semester. Like, they only
and I've seen
train.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it.
Probably seen it.
I've seen it.
Who were the guys that was there when you were there? Did you see a national championship?
Oh yeah, 2017.
Yep.
I was there.
That's
I ran. I told y'all I ain't run, but I ran. I ran all the way to Franklin Street. I sure did.
Oh my God. Who was on that team again?
It was Joel Berry, Theo Pinson, Kennedy Meeks, Isaiah. What was Isaiah's last name?
Shout out to Kenny. Kenny
Williams.
was on that team.
Kenny Williams. Oh yeah,
Kenny Williams.
Yeah,
man.
804 right there. LC Bird. Funny thing, crazy thing. We used to train with each other.
That's
like, I
tough.
told you, I train with dudes. Like, that's why when people see me play, like, I play like a guy because, like, I trained with dudes. So when I played with women, I'm like, you my son. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I didn't do all that. Like,
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
In my mind, I never said
Hey,
out
look,
loud.
we know JoJo off the camera. She did that.
She did. And she looking at you like, right? You really thought that was gonna work?
Right. Okay. Like, literally, like, people's like would call. I was a big body guard. Like, and that's where some of that confidence came. But yeah, me and Kenny used to work out together with Corey Alexander. Shout out to Corey.
Shout out to Corey. Yeah, man. So tell the people real quick, because, you know, we talk about your first year, you got hurt. Crazy injury. Like, that ain't no tweak ankle. That ain't no me having patella tendonitis. Like, you really sat down. So you did actually suit up for UNC. So how was that comeback for you?
It was hard. It was real hard because, once again, knowing your role, my role changed. Now I'm coming off of an injury, and, you know, women, I mean, this is just something that, once again, like, sometimes guys don't have to go through, but, like, women's bodies change. Like, I gained so much weight because I like to eat. So I was like, I'm going to eat through my sadness. I can't play. Eating everything. And I wasn't working out. I'm eating everything. So I gained so much weight. So I was like, that summer, like, the end of that season, they're like, all right, like, we're excited about, like, this was going into my first season there. So redshirt freshman year. They was like, yo, we're so excited for you to come back. Like, we just need you to get in shape. Need to do what you got to do. And I was like, I hear you. But I went home.
Still ate.
I was chilling. Like, I lost weight, but like, I was working out and everything. Cause, you know, I was like, I'm getting back on the court, but I still couldn't do what I needed my body to do because I didn't fuel it correctly. Like, I didn't take care of it like I was supposed to. And so going to my first year on the court, it was okay. Like, what ended up happening was I just was like the rebounder and, like, I'm going to play defense because I was like, okay, this is what I got to do. That's what I got to do to get on the floor. Like I said, know your role. But that wasn't enough for me. Like, getting in here and there, wasn't really scoring that much, you know, was still trying to get in shape.
Yep.
But the hardest thing to get in shape, once season come, you can't really get in shape. Like, and I didn't really take it serious, the fact that, like, all right, let me go get extra sprints in. Let me go work out another workout during the day. Let me do something earlier with my strength conditioning coach. Like, I wasn't really thinking like that. Like, I'm happy back to be playing. Like, I'm happy back to be on the floor, you know? And I was still going through, like, that depressive type state where it's like, okay, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. All right, I can't move because it's only 9 to 12 months from an injury. I still don't trust my body.
Absolutely not.
So that first year was real rough, but I remember we had, like, end of year meetings after my first year on the court, and there was like, yo, you did a lot of good things for us, but, like, you got to get in shape. And I was like, all right, bet. I was like, I'm okay. So reverse. First my first summer there, like after my first year after being hurt, I stayed at school to like do rehab and stuff like that. But I was partying, drinking, going out, doing all sorts, eating. Like I said, I love to eat, so eating, not really serious. And so like, I went to that season, but then they told me that I was like, you know what? After that first season, we sat down. I was like, you know what? I was like, can I go home for the first summer session? So it was like, yeah, but like there was like, you sure you want to do that? Because you know when people go home, they think like, you ain't gonna be focused. But like, no, like I need to go home and like just get my bag. And so I went home. And when I say I probably lost in a summer, so like summer, May to I had a report in July, like July 1st. So for about 2 months, lost about 20, 25 pounds, slimmed back up, like lifted like crazy, was in the gym like doing 2-a-days. Like so me and Scoop was talking about the other day, like what happened, we would work out in the morning and I would go run sprints right after. And then I would lift in the afternoon.
Shout out Scoop.
And then shout out to Scoop,
man.
yes, Scoop Hoops. Like
Scoop Hoops, man. Shout out
that's
to
Scoop Hoops.
Scoop will be sitting right where you at soon. So
yeah, you gotta get him because like he's really been an instrumental into like my comeback as well, just like speaking that positivity into me. But yeah, like I was grinding that summer, and so I came back. Coaches was shocked because like it was kind of funny though because you know sometimes when people, and this is just a lesson because sometimes people might say like, oh, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, but they don't think that you're gonna do it. Like they don't really think like, oh, she's not gonna do it. Like we telling her, but she's not really gonna do it. And I'm like, no, when I say something like, I mean it. Yeah. I came back best shape, stronger, faster, and I came back like shooting again because I wasn't really shooting much during that last season, but like extending my range again. Confidence is back, coming in. I was like, oh yeah. Like I was like, okay, I'm back now. I had a great summer. Preseason was good. But then it's just crazy because, you know, when you outdo what people think, they're like, oh shoot, now what? Like we can't, and the proof is in the pudding. Like if I'm putting up, like you can't miss it. The film show I'm balling in practice.
Absolutely.
That's a ball.
It's like it's no talk, no nothing. Like I'm putting in work both offense and defense. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I should be playing. But that didn't happen. Yeah. And that's when like I learned how to play the game. Because I wasn't playing the game because I was still, like I told y'all, I still had a little bit of attitude, still had like I would say not ego issues, but like coming back. And I was like, I was feeling better. I was like, oh, I'm about to be playing. Like, I was like, there's no way I'm not going to play. And so when that didn't happen, I was like, whoa.
Right quick, I think, you know, it's not a good thing, but this is something that I guess we can agree on that we're similar as far as male and female hoopers. That was your introduction into politics. Mm-hmm. We talk about it all the time about, you know, us as, because you're a kid still. Mm-hmm. You're a kid at that time. You're hooping. You worked out all summer. You lost all this weight. You knew what you were doing. You were grinding. Mm-hmm. And there was no doubt or no space in your mind that you were like, I'm going to not play.
Right.
That's a wall. We talk about that all the time. That's another wall that you hit. Mm-hmm. Mentally, where were you at that moment?
I was like, you mean to tell me I did all this work and I don't get no return? Like, I don't get that appreciation. Like, when I tell you, I remember, like, literally, like, Coach said, hey, we could have used you. Like, if you would have won, I knew we would have. I was like, if you was playing, I knew you could have won.
But you was able to play, right? He just didn't put you in?
No, like, exactly. Like, it was like, so I'll reverse it. Season, and I'm going to go, like, from Coach's perspective, of what coaches were telling me. So, like, you tell me what you would think if Coach is telling you this. Okay. So, you get hurt. Yep. Deuce, we could have used Deuce that game. Like, if Deuce was in, I knew we could have won. Okay. All right, cool. You come back from injury. All right, Deuce, I need you. Like, you need to get in shape. This is what I need you to do because we trying to make a run. Like, this is what I need you to do. All right, you want to go home? Cool. I need you to come back summer. Get after it. You do what you do in summer. You do what they say, everything you say. You know what? I think you'd be better off coming off the bench. I think you can be six man of the year.
Okay.
Help us out.
I respect that.
You know, okay, cool. You know what? I need you to lose more weight. You still out of shape. You're not, I need you in the gym more. Okay. Then it's okay in practice. All right. They yell, they still get on you. So like what I heard, when they stop talking to you, that's when you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like we all know that. So they were still talking to me. Like, hey Joe, all you gotta do it. Like, you so close. Dude, you so close. So I'm hearing this. Like, these are the messages I'm getting from coaches. So it's like, okay, when am I gonna get my shot? Like, I'm working out, like, and now we in season, I'm getting extra lifts in with my strength and conditioning coach, doing extra sprints, working my butt off in practice, still working out. So like, shout out to Jason Boya. He's actually at NC Central right now. My strength and conditioning coach, he was my dude. Like, he was like, Joe, I'm not letting you quit. Like, I don't care. You getting after it. He was the one, he would drag me and call me like, no, you working out this morning. Saturday morning off day, there was no off day for me. I was working out twice, busting my butt, like going hard. And I was like, there's no way I made it so clear that like I wasn't giving my coaches a reason to sit me. Like I was to a point where people were asking like, why are you not playing?
But you want to know what? Real quick, listening to your story, it's touching me, and it's touching me in a way of when you just walk down that situation for me, and I put myself in your shoes, it was similar to kind of what happened in my shoes as well, right? I really feel like at that moment, those coaches just cannot be real, right? Because that I think that's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to, because you just said all these things you did, and it never was enough.
Exactly.
And right when you think, all right, I did enough, I'm sorry, there's a back page of what we need you to do as well, right? At that moment, those people aren't able to be real people. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they got somebody in their ear and or they got other players that they just really can't be real with as well. Right. But I feel you. I feel for you so much right now because of the fact that I know where that took you mentally without even asking you, without even you sharing it to the world right now, or even some of the words that you did not say. I know where you were mentally because I was that way. And, you know, one of my coaches said I wasn't making any shots. That's why I wasn't playing. And when he said that, I'm like, hold on, wait, am I not making anything? Or like, it's people miss, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, but that was just a dumb thing to say that I wasn't doing while I wasn't playing. So that was just weird. But for you, I feel for you because you got hurt. Wall number one put you in a very, very dark space. I know it did. Come back, lose all this weight, grind, do all this, and it still wasn't enough. Right. So your senior year now, right? Because now it's your senior year, right?
So I graduated early. So junior year, so it's going to complicate. Junior year, no, hold on. It's going to complicate me. Junior year in the classroom, sophomore on the court, third year there. That was my last year. So I only played 2 years at Carolina. Because I got hurt my first year. Okay. So, and I thought the same thing. Like, I'm never enough. Like, and you got to think about it. Like, when you keep like trying to go after it and like, okay, like this got to be enough this time. Like, you know, you got like, ain't no way they going to turn me down this time. You mean to tell me I got to work out again? Like, I remember I went vegan and I passed out in a practice. Because I was not eating.
You wasn't getting enough of
because I was like, no, I gotta lose more weight. Like, she told me to lose more weight, I'm gonna lose more weight. So I'm like, okay, I know if I lose more weight, I'm gonna get on the court. Like, so now in my mind, I'm saying I gotta do whatever these people telling me to do because obviously I'm not doing it right. Yeah. And so, and that's like, and now that I'm out of the game, I've had like, it was a whole trick on me, like not being told, but like indiscreetly. Like, not like directly being told that you're not enough.
It was directly told. That's just how not being real comes off. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I want to touch on that, man, because, you know, when we talk about like, even with our journeys, like a part of what we doing with this platform is like, we really trying to shed light on one, accountability. That's number one, but self-awareness. And there's a thin line there because, you know, it's hard to deal with, I feel like 25 and younger, like you got to have a little bit more patience if you're in a position of like leadership, because shout out to your strength and conditioning coach, because I feel like he was trying to get you to see the best in yourself, because he saw that, because he realized that because your coaches weren't being real with you, you were kind of getting confused with like, who am I? And I think that one thing that has always slipped under the rug is like, if you make a decision to be a coach or make a decision to be in a position where you have to lead the next generation of whatever it is that you teaching, part of that responsibility is being real. Like, you got to be transparent, and not because you feel like if what you're telling them is right or wrong. It's just they need to understand this, because as the person in the leadership position, you've been in the real world. That's how you got this position, because you don't just graduate college and become the coach at UNC.
Right.
You had to go through life. And I think one of the things that frustrates me about hearing it is that people have to understand that, you know, when you're self-aware about yourself, you go tell anybody what they need to hear, whether they like it or not. And I'm not saying your coach wasn't self-aware, but like, to not have that reassurance of this is really what it is and not all of this, you should lose more weight and all this other stuff, that affected you mentally, and that could transfer into so many other things.
Exactly.
And what we talk about is the dark space. A big part of the reason why I started Stat, and a big part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, is because whether you made it to the NBA or whether you got injured and you were on that route, or whether it just didn't work out at all, at some point, if you were an athlete, you thought you were going to make it. And that dark space that you go into when it doesn't work out, when you have that reality hit you, you think about all those people that didn't keep it real with you. And I feel for you, because on paper, you had everything that anybody would have wanted. But when we are sitting here talking about it, it's very clear that, like, and again, shout out to your strength and conditioning coach, that village of people won't keeping it all the way real. And a lot of times it comes down to their own personal interest. And I think that speaks to the world we live in, where like people would rather not keep it real because they're thinking about what they need. And we got to take that extra step to think about what people need, because we all got to help each other. Because if you look at your story and what you're talking about, there's so many things that show you were destined for greatness no matter what you were going to do. It's in your blood. Your parents are that. And to me, I feel like your coach should have been that person that cared enough about your life to see that, so that she could keep it real with you. Look, you come from this.
Right.
I understand you got injured. I understand you had to go through these things. I understand we wanted you on the floor, but this is really where you're at and where we see you, because that's going to give you the freedom to say, you know what, I can still understand who I am. This is just a situation. And I feel we have to bring that up more often, man, because it's sad that so many people go into a dark space because they deal with things like that. And shout out to you for being able to come in here and talk about it, because a lot of people don't make it out of that. And that's a big part of the reason why we're doing what we're doing, because we've all been there and we didn't have that same route, but we all can relate to that in some way.
For sure. And just to piggyback off of that, you know, being self-aware that's the main thing that we pushing for real. Like, you know, trying to get people, and, you know, kind of like I said in the first tagline, is like giving a different perspective, but it all boils down to trying to become self-aware. And that's very important, because like you said, in a leadership position, you gotta be self-aware. Like you can't not be self-aware trying to lead others, because that's going to lead them to not being self-aware. And that's what causes athletes to not know who they are, go into these dark spaces. And like he said, and like I said plenty of times, not everybody's able to make it out of that space. So transitioning now into your UNC career is over. What made you decide Seton Hall was the right place?
It was so much going on. I was like, I got to get out of here. I want a whole different like experience. Like UNC was great. Loved the school. Basketball just didn't go how I wanted to. So it's like, how can I get that next basketball experience? You know, why I picked South Orange, New Jersey? I don't know.
Well. What other schools were you juggling? Were you juggling any other schools?
Well, so the problem was I wasn't playing much, so I didn't have a lot of numbers. So I did have like a really breakout game, a real instrumental. Like I was a big instrumental piece to us making it to the NCAA tournament when we played. Who do we play? We played either Wake Forest. No, it wasn't Wake Forest. It was Georgia Tech. It was Georgia Tech in ACC tourney. We had to win that game to get a bid. Post player couldn't play. We had people injured. I was injured during that season, but I was like, shoot, everybody hurt. I'm good. Like, I can play.
I'm
like,
ready. Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just pop a pill, get a shot real quick, do what I gotta do. I don't care. I'm about to play.
Yeah.
Play 14-9, like, and like what was so crazy, I was chilling, like, easy, like easy. I said, and like I felt so good because like that was like after all those like you're not good enough, and I showed you like this is what I can do. See what happened when you play me?
Yeah.
See what happened when I get just a little bit of a chance, like that. And I remember, and once again, back to Jason, like my strength and conditioning coach, like. Me and him, like I almost broke down like to him because like we were like all I needed was one shot. Yep. If I get my one opportunity, like I'm not gonna mess up that opportunity at all. And I took advantage of it. And so that game really kind of showed other people who I was as a player, like knowing my story, like, okay, I didn't play that well, but I still had a good attitude because I was like, whenever my number is called, I'm ready. Like, it don't matter if I play 2 minutes or 25, like I'm ready. I'm gonna make a difference. So with schools after, I didn't have a bunch of like high D1 schools, but I still had D1 schools coming after me. It was more like mid-major and stuff. And so I had good looks. I mean, like quality looks. But I was like, no, I've never been to Jersey before. Up north. I was like, New Jersey, New York, same thing, right? No. Like, no, like South Orange. All right, for my Richmond people, South Orange, South Side times 10.
Oh my gosh.
That's a little boost. Not by 10, but South
by 5.
By like 5. Like,
I mean, that's still OD.
South Orange, like
South side itself is
that's
South
still
Side,
South
you know,
side.
like I'm talking about. Oh, let me think for my like for city Richmond people. Let me think.
Yeah, crackheads everywhere probably.
I couldn't walk out. Like,
I
couldn't walk outside by myself.
Yeah.
Like, there was a certain point,
You
like,
gotta make sure you got dollars in your pocket. You got $1? Everybody actually got $1, then you go back in the house, you ain't got nothing.
But see, like, the problem, what the problem was, like, I was so ready to get out of North Carolina because of how crazy it was. I didn't care where I went. Yeah. Like, I went on a visit to Seton Hall. I was like, next 2 days, I said, I'm coming. I didn't even think about it. Like, I was like.
Did you visit any other schools, though?
I visited Elon because I was real close with Charlotte Smith. Shout out to Charlotte Smith. I visited William and Mary. Cause you still get 3 visits once you
nice.
Once you decommit and like you transfer, you get like you get 3 visits still. So I went to William and Mary. William and Mary was real cool, but I was like, I don't want to be in Virginia because I was like, especially William and Mary because that's too close to the water too. So like being playing for Boo and stuff. Yeah, I was like, I really come to North Carolina, and it was a little bit in my head like North Carolina, William and Mary. I was like, do I really want to make that? Was I secure enough in myself to really make that move? Yeah,
you probably would have went there and killed though.
Oh yeah. Listen, that's why if I could go back, nah, I don't even like saying like if I can go back because like ain't no regrets. Like everything was done for a reason. So it's like I said, cool, I'm going to New Jersey. I said Jersey Shore, all that stuff. I was like, okay, I'm cool.
And you was there. I mean, regardless of the situation, you were there. You got a chance to play because you played right away, right?
No.
When you got there, what happened?
I didn't play
at all.
I did not play at all because
I didn't get in the game, or
like I would see, and that's what people don't realize. Like UNC did so much, like did a trick on me. Like I got so depressed, and I also found out like I was bipolar too. So like I was dealing with like mental health stuff, and I got to Seton Hall. And like I was in a relationship at the time, and it was just a lot going on. Like also once again, UNC transfer, ooh, like okay, and I was in a relationship over the summer. That happy weight came back, was happy, gained some weight, worked out still. Like I was still ready, but I was like, I'm trying to enjoy myself because like I was so messed up from UNC. Like I'm trying to enjoy what's going on. So I showed up. And I wasn't in my best shape. And I knew that I wasn't in the best shape that I wanted to be. But I told the coaches, I was like, just know I'm going to work hard. Like, I'm going to work hard to do whatever y'all need me to do. And my mental just wasn't there. Like, mental health was not good. Like, I ended up admitting myself to the hospital because I was not in a space. And the problem is, and this is just something like, and the stigma in the Black community, and the stigma for sports, mental health means you weak.
Yeah. We touched on that a lot.
For sure.
And not knowing how to channel that, because what we are taught and what we are told of mental health growing up is like you don't even know who to express that to.
Exactly.
Because they're going to look at you side eye, or you just don't know how people are going to receive it. So that is super tough for you to go through that. And not only did you go through that, again, the perspective of male versus female, like you had a boyfriend. So the chances of you getting pregnant,
oh Lord,
you know, the time of the month come, like you got to go through all these things, you know what I mean? And for us as male hoopers, like, you know, it's not good, but if we were to get somebody pregnant, we still are functioning the same, we still hoop. But like you have to take time off, you have to have a kid, you know, and again, going away from the game as a female, if you have a kid, is a lot different because you know, like that nourishment isn't there. Like for guys, it's kind of different. So you were in a bad mental space. So how did you ever come out of it, or what ended up happening with that?
I was just trying to get by. Like I was just trying to make it. Like after I came out the hospital, I was there. I remember it was Labor Day weekend. I was there for 5 days. It was hell. But like I knew I needed it. And I came out and I thought I was gonna have support. Like I like how I'm open with y'all. Like I'm very open about my mental health. So I was very open with my coaches at the time, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? You have our support." I said, "Cool. This is what I need. This is what I need." And it just wasn't enough. Like I'm in here trying to figure out. Like I said, I'm bipolar. So like I was on medication, and so like I was on medication, and I was like gone, like on so much medication. Like I would be sitting in practice, like, what is going on? Where am I? Like waking up and like vision impaired, like crazy stuff, like tripping. And I'm like in practice trying to play basketball off all these medications, and I'm trying to explain what's going on. And once again, I'm not really feeling like I'm being heard. And so now I got to deal with it with myself. And now I'm finding other ways to do that. And now it's like, on top of that, I'm not playing basketball. So it's like, I don't even have that outlet, because what happened was at Seton Hall, you know, we had conversations. So I wasn't playing. Like, I didn't play. And I also had Achilles. I had my left Achilles started bothering me at that time too.
That was the same one that you tore?
So I tore my right one.
Oh, wow.
Left Achilles started bothering me on top of my mental health stuff. So I wasn't 100%. So I took it. I acknowledged that. And the coach was like, yeah, hey, we'll work. You're all right. You're good. You're good. You're good. And once again, just keep it real. Like you said, just keep it real with me. Like, if you seen this ain't working out, don't waste my time. Just tell me. But like, you still feeding me like, no, you got this. You got this. You got this. I remember I had a good week in practice. Like something finally clicked. Like, I don't know what it was, but something clicked. Had a great practice. We were about to go to Bahamas. And they were like, yo, like, we're ready. Like, I think you're ready. I was like, all right, bet. Like, I'm about to play. Like, I can't wait. I have not played in so long. And I was like, I'm ready to play. And I remember right before I left, my doc switched my meds. And I didn't know how I was going to react off of them. And I was out of it. Like, I remember we played Georgia Tech. It's kind of funny how, like, just things just come back into your life. But, like, we played Georgia Tech. I played, and I was just out of it. Completely. And like my coaches were like, what's wrong? Are you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like we tell ourselves we good, and we remain even if we not, like, and I wasn't good. And so, you know, I played a little bit in Bahamas, but that was the last time I stepped on the floor. That was the last time I stepped on the floor, period. Like that over Thanksgiving break at the Bahamas was the last time.
This is your first year at Seton Hall.
First year at Seton Hall, third year playing. That was the last time I played basketball on a collegiate floor. And after that, like, I was playing that guessing game. Like, I'm telling the coaches, like, hey, I'm good mentally. We still need some time. You still need some time. Like, we don't know if you're ready yet. But I'm practicing. I'm having to do extra workouts. Like, I'm feeling good, so I'm doing, like I said, same thing. Like, I know the model. Like, this is what I need to do to get on the floor. Y'all tell me I'm not ready yet. Like, well, here I am doing extra workouts. Like, getting extra skill work in with my position coach. But it wasn't enough. Like, I was like, what do I have to do to show you that I can play? So didn't play at all that whole year. I told them I wanted to medically redshirt, and I wanted to get that year back because I didn't play past that little point. So I was like, okay, I want to get this year back. So they was like, yeah, we can work on that. COVID hit. and we had meetings. So I'm going to meeting like, and this is where I feel better mentally and everything like that. I'm like, okay, excited about my second year coming back. Cause I was like, okay, what they did say, which I appreciate, they're like, hey, you have 1 year, but we don't know if we can promise you that second year for like that, for my medical register, the medical register year. I was like, cool, don't even worry about it. Like, I was like, I'm ready to show and prove myself my next year to even if I have the opportunity to get another year with y'all, I'm ready. I remember going into that meeting and first, I went downstairs to meet with the my trainer, and she was like, "Hey, this is what you need to do when you get home. Like, this is your program and everything." Because like I told you my Achilles, this is what you need to do, come home and everything. Like, this is what you need to do home. When you come back, you'll be ready. I said, "Okay, cool. I'm ready. I'm in better space mentally. All right, I go meet with coaches. Coaches was like, you know what? We don't think you can play at this level anymore." I said, "Who the?" I was like, maybe you don't know who I am. And that's when like
you
my
had to
pride.
check yourself.
I had to check myself. I was like, do you not know who I am? And that's on like purely off of like, I came from UNC. I was one of the top players in Virginia and the country. You mean to me I can no longer play at this level? I played the ACC.
Yeah.
You talking about
Big East?
Big East? I can't play at Big East level. And I was like, what? And my mom just saying what? Like when people talk and I'm already upset, I just go quiet. Like I just listen because it's like I'm gonna say something that I'm gonna regret, so I'm just gonna be quiet and just digest. So I'm thinking like, okay, he just said that. Okay, cool. All right, I can't play at this level. All right, well, boom. I was like, you know what? I'm willing to work hard. I'm ready to come back and do what I need to do. Like I don't know what I need to show y'all. I was like, well, he was like, you got two options, and you don't have to decide this today. You can either medically retire and finish school here, because I was getting my master's. You can finish school here, or you can transfer. That's what he told me. I said, you mean to tell me I went through hell this year for you to tell me that I can't play at this level?
And I can't play here.
So now what? Like, crushed. I drove home. I was in New Jersey. I drove home to D.C. because my mom lived in Alexandria. I drove home so hurt because, like, never have I felt more disappointed. Like, this felt even worse than UNC because I'm like, I just busted my butt. Like, y'all saw me struggle all year. And you mean tell me, like, for me to come, like, I can never play at this level again? I was pissed.
Did you, in your mind, because I know your mind was everywhere at that. I can't imagine what was going through your head at that point. Did you always have a plan B or life after basketball, or was that the moment that you said, let me start thinking about something else?
No, I knew the moment when I passed out in practice at UNC and my coach still said I need to lose weight. That was like, oh no, I'm not doing this my whole life. I was like, I gotta have a plan B. Like, have to have a backup just in case it don't work. Like it wasn't like, oh, I give up.
Yeah, I'm
never gonna play basketball again. But it was like, no, I need to have a plan B. So that plan B started at UNC. That's why I graduated in 3 years. Graduated in 3 years, got my actually double majored and everything like that. Got my degree so I can get my master's. Hit me again when they was like, you can't play at this level. So I'm like, well, dang, like if they tell me I can't play at this level, like I really need to, like, you know, I don't know if and this is why I was trying to figure out, am I going to stay here and finish up grad school or transfer somewhere else? Because I was like, basketball and me just really having a tough relationship right now. Like, do I want to keep playing? So, you know, I was like, well, I got my degree. I didn't want to go into the real world yet. So I was like, okay, I didn't want to stay at Seton Hall because I'm not staying in no South Orange by myself. Like, I didn't know nobody up there. So I was like, nah.
You didn't find any teammates that you became close with or anything?
I did. I had teammates. Shout out to Shadeen Samuels. That was my girl.
Okay.
I had a couple others, but I mostly hung out with Shadeen. Like, she really helped me. Like, she was really like my go-to person there. But it wasn't like, I just did not have a good experience because, like, I was dealing with so much. And, like, once again, you get told, like, this is all you got to do to play. Yeah,
and then you do it, and
it's not enough. Like, there's that, like...
checklist continued after that.
Exactly. Like, it's, like, that feeling of, like, never feeling that you're enough. Like, when I tell you, I still deal with that. Like, I have to tell myself now as a retired player, no longer playing in the game. Like, in my real life, I have to check myself saying like, are you good enough? And that's where that affirmation, like, okay, I have to give that self-affirmation because I'm not going to get it from everybody, even though I want to, because I'm looking for that.
And so many times too, us as individuals in this world right now, that's what we look for the most is peer validation. And you need validation for yourself. And that's the most important validation you can get, because all those people can give it to you and then they can strip it away from you as well.
Exactly.
That's why self-awareness is.
That's where the self-awareness comes
important.
into.
I think having, I mean, in the situation that you're talking about, like, you still do need that validation. I think we live in a world where people try to like shun looking for validation. Like, that's human nature.
Right.
That's what we all look for. But when you're self-aware, you don't make it your identity. And I think that's the gap that, because I deal with that a lot.
I was about to say, well, I disagree a little bit, only on the point of, I feel like when you seek validation from others, like,
that's what I'm
look
saying.
at
Same
me.
thing. Yeah, when you're seeking it, that's when you're making it your identity.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
But when you're
So I
self-aware and you're also getting the validation, it checks off that box of like, I'm on the right path. And when you feel like you're not good enough, and it hits your self-awareness, because it's like, I know I'm self-aware, but it's like, is it not connecting?
Right. Is it, am I seeing myself? Because sometimes when you have these people too, they have that idea like, okay, I'm doing enough. Like, I got to do it. And really, you ain't doing nothing. Like, so sometimes you need that people to just to check you. Like, that's why you got to have like someone like, okay, who does keep you, like you said, accountable. Because like making sure you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, make sure you are doing it at a certain level. But like I said, I was just one, and like that's just where my loyalty, like how my personality is. Like, I will do it, like whoever I'm with, whoever I'm down for, whoever team I am, I'm giving it my all. Like I gave everything to that game, and you mean to tell me that's not enough?
Did you have any Kenny Williams type guys there at Seton Hall that took you and worked out with you? Did you have that dynamic? And I think that's crazy too, because regardless of, even if it was a small thing, that helped you a lot at UNC, you know, and going to a new school, already having self-doubt about if you can even play again after your injury, and then you came back, and then you're going to Seton Hall, and now you're not playing, they telling you to do, and then you don't have that other dynamic of the other opposite sex looking at you like, yo, I want to work out with you because I see something in you. So I think that could have had an effect on you as well. Looking back on it, were there any type of opportunity for that, for the guys to bring you on and work out, or you just was done with that?
I was so cut off from everybody, because like I'm telling you, when I said my mental was just so messed up, like I was in a dark place. Yeah, I was in such a dark place where it's like I didn't even want to. And it's crazy for like, and that, you know, this, like my personality, like I want to talk to anybody. Like I can connect with anybody. Like I love people sometimes. Sometimes. But like I do love that, like I think something that's a part of me is like I love that connection with people, because people are so different. So like I'm quick to make a friend. I'm quick to make a connection. But I was at Seton Hall, I was in my room all the time. Like I was like,
you was there when Miles Powell was there, right?
Yeah, I was there with Miles.
Yeah.
Like,
shout out Miles Powell, dog.
Yeah, tough. Like
trend takes, trend makes. I think that's what it say, right? Dude
listen.
always said it on this little highlight. But yeah, man, Miles Powell, shout out Miles Powell, because he was a Seton Hall legend for sure. So
I mean, it was like I said, that was one thing that was like I could have, but I was just in a space where I didn't even want to be open to any of that, because I was so focused on like, what am I not doing right? Like I must be doing something wrong. And then it's like, I'm like, dang, I'm doing something wrong. Like how do I, like we go back to it, like I was one of the top players in the state, and now I feel like I'm sorry.
And you were still doing all the same things that you were doing when you was the nicest player. It's like it's hard to connect those dots.
So after looking back on your journey now, are there any words that you would want to give to your younger self or to the younger audience of female hoopers coming up, even male hoopers? I think a lot of people, everyone could take something from your story. So is there anything that you would go back and tell yourself or tell the younger generation coming up?
The biggest, like, two things. One, and I'll do the quick one first because that's easy, and I'll get a little deep with y'all. So first thing, basketball don't last forever. It don't matter how long you play, it ends. Basketball ends. Mine ended a lot faster than I thought it would, but I was ready. I was ready to step away. And I was okay with stepping away because I had 2 degrees. And now I'm working on my, well, actually 3. I'm working on my 4th right now. So it's like, I'm set. Like, even though I'm not playing the game that I love, I still stepped away from the game knowing, okay, I can still move on with life. Because you got some people that step away from the game and they crushed and they like totally different. Yep. They like lost their total identity. Like, you got to find an identity outside the sport you play, because it, like, once you no longer play that sport, you no longer associate it the same way. So you got to find that identity, your true identity of who you are as a person. And so the second thing I would, like, if I could really tell myself, is like don't, like, you got to be secure in yourself. Like, no matter what people say, you got to have that. It's kind of funny. I was getting my hair done last night, and I was talking to my hairdresser, and she was like talking like, oh, I talked about the podcast. So I was so excited to be on the show. She's like, so like, tell me, like, what's going on? I was like, I'm trying to be humble. She's like, no, like, you did, like, you really was like that. Like, why be humble? Like, you need to celebrate yourself. So like, my thing was, don't let people dim your light, because
I like that a lot. Because
what happens, we get told, especially in society, this can be taken out of context, out of sports, because even as a Black woman, I still deal with this struggle of like letting people dim my own light and like try to throw shade on what I got going on, instead of myself being vibrant in the way that I am, because you're told you're not good enough. But who's telling you? You're not telling yourself. Someone's telling you. And there's motive behind that, because one, you're either a threat to what they're doing, or they're insecure in themselves.
Absolutely.
And so they're saying these things for a reason. That's so like that was something I wish I would have known. Like, of course, it's a political in the game and stuff like that, but you gotta be secure in yourself and know, like, hey, God has given me these talents for a certain reason. I don't know what they're supposed to be yet, but I can't let nobody try to tell me I can't do something, or, you know what, that's not good enough, because in the Lord's eyes, we just going through our path our own different way. And it might not look the same way. I might not look the same as you, as the way it stats. But like, inner self, we know what we need to do.
Absolutely.
But instead, what society has told us, and social media has so much to do with this as well, like, it just tells us how we should be. And we have to keep striving, like, one, and just be candid with everybody right now. Like, one thing I've been struggling is like how to get back in shape and get back to myself. So I've been so hard with like self-image. And so like, I'll look at pictures and look at other people like, dang, like, I need to have that body. I need to be like that. So I'm working out. No, you're not. It's not enough. It's not enough. So like, then those images, like, you're not enough. And so it's like, you got to start changing how you're speaking and how you're speaking to yourself. Because if you align what your thoughts are with other people and how they view you, you lost yourself.
Absolutely. And I tell Stat that all the time. We actually talked about it in his origin story of how he was treated, you know, growing up as a kid in middle school. And I told you that moment was, you were a threat to them, and they weren't secure with who they were. So it's easy to always lash out and try to pick on somebody else. But I also want to shine some light on what you said about the social media aspect. And I try to, you know, I coached at Combine Academy last year, and a lot of those talks I had with my players were trying to give them life lessons, right? And, you know, social media, what social media is, it's a comparison outlet, right? And comparison is the thief of joy. So like you said, you have all these questions about yourself when you look at others through that comparison outlet. And what we are trying to, you know, shed some light on, and what Stat always brings up, is just being self-aware. So tap into you being more self-aware with who you are. You don't even see those things. You don't compare yourself to anybody else. And people don't have that. And that's what we're trying to, you know, give off with this podcast, is having people tap into who they really are, because social media is going to be around for a long time, right? And that's what social media was made for, and people don't understand that. And it's crazy to see a lot of people go through a lot of dark spaces because of social media. But I just want to tell you, you know, give you your flowers right now. I learned a lot about you just sitting here in the last hour, and I'm proud of you because you're still here. And a lot of times people, again, they go in those spaces and they don't come out, or they don't come out the same, but the same is like they really locked in a closet still. So I'm proud of you for that. I know
Appreciate
Stat got something to say, and you know, we're gonna kind of wrap it up there, but I'm proud of you for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, yo, this I ain't even gonna hold you. This probably our best episode that we've done so far. I ain't even gonna hold you, and I can relate so much to what you're saying about not feeling like you're good enough, and you know, no matter how your journey goes, like we all can attach ourselves to those things. And like I didn't have nearly as good of a career as you did, but I understand what you're saying when you're talking about those things. And you know, even when you're talking about with my story, like in middle school, people being intimidated by one thing that I've had to learn about self-awareness and about becoming the best version of you, because no one is taught that. A lot of people are going to try to use those buzzwords of like, be humble. But like, if you guys need to understand about being humble is you can't be humble if you ain't did shit. And a lot of people that ain't did shit be telling you to be humble. And the only way to become humble is understanding that humbleness really comes from, I did all these things because I took it serious and I understood and respected the journey it took to get there. And there's a lot of people that try to use that word because they think being humble is playing small.
Right.
No, if you're playing small, you shouldn't even have that in your vocabulary of being humble, because what are you being humble about?
Right.
You're playing small. So you have to actually understand being humble is, I put that work in and I did those things. Whether it worked out or not, I'm going to be confident about that, because what I'm self-aware about is it took a certain person like me and the things that I'm good at to be that, to do that, because everybody ain't doing that.
Right.
You know, and so that's one thing that I want people to take away, that I'm taking away from this, is understand you gotta, when you go into something, you gotta respect what it takes to get there. And by doing that, your preparation is where you become humble. But when you go out and execute, and when you go out and win, you could talk your shit. And you can be confident about that. And people who ain't did shit those are the only ones that's gonna say that, because the people who are where you want to be, just like we're having this conversation here, we ain't never gonna have that rebuttal and say be humble, because no, you put that time and you put that work in, and that's why we want to give you your flowers and say no, talk your shit and let people know what you did, because it's too many people that ain't did nothing that's using those things to bring people down. And so, you know, I'm proud of you as well, and I'm proud of all of us just being here and being able to shed light on this, because there's so many people that can relate to that, you know. And for somebody like you who, like I said, it was our dream to go to UNC Chapter.
Yeah.
You were there, you know. But the uncomfortable truth is that when you get into the real world and you get into life, you understand that it's not what you think it is. And I don't care what you're talking about. You could be going and playing football. You could be going and owning a business. It's not what you think it is. And when you understand what it is, that's when stuff starts to go. And when you understand you don't know everything and there's a lot that you don't know, you become a student of life.
Right.
And that's what I take from your story. And I think that's what people need to understand, is that you become a student of life when you understand how much you do not know, and you start to understand that I just got to be a student every day of my life and learn and grow. And that's how you become self-aware, and that's how you become humble, and that's how you go out and kill it, because that's also going to help the next person. And again, that's what we're trying to do here.
So before we get out of here, let the people know, like, what are you doing now? Like, what's your life like now? What's your next goal? What are you striving for?
Yeah. Well, before I'm gonna do that, but one thing I just want to touch on, one thing that you said, and I think this will be, you know, I'm gonna take us to church just a little bit, because what happens is what the enemy tries to do is he puts images and he puts people in your life and tries to make you think that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you're not connected, and it don't matter what you're connected with, but if you're not connected with God, with some higher power, some higher deity, you lose yourself and you get into what the enemy's trying to get you to do, and make you second think, like, what is my calling? Because that's something that I'm dealing with now. Like, okay, what am I called to do, God? Like, okay, is it, like, people think I'm a coach. Like, is it giving back to the game, coaching? Is it, you know, continue to pursuing my education? But like, once again, I had to get in line with God for me, myself, because that's all. As long as God said I'm good,
Absolutely.
it don't matter. Because what the enemy, what I noticed, and what's so funny, because every time I take a step closer to my purpose, to what I'm called to be doing, the enemy will give me an image, or like make me reflect back on, like, no, you remember when they told you you weren't good enough? You remember when they told you couldn't do that? You can't do that.
Absolutely.
And so I have to like shift myself and say, like, no, this is what I'm called to do. And so, like, just like with stuff that I'm doing now, like right now I'm at VCU. I'm going to get my second master's in sports leadership. I work for, you know, shout out to VCU Rams, you know, beat Davidson the other night, big win. And I'm just trying to figure myself out. Like, that's really what I'm trying to do. Like, I've really tapped in, and this is one thing I told myself in 2022 I'm really trying to align myself with what God has called me to do, because
Absolutely.
I feel like I have not tapped into what I'm truly supposed to be doing, because it's limitless. Like, even when I say, like, I feel like I've been successful, even though I did not play how I wanted to play, my career did not how to go how I wanted to, I still call it a success. Like, I still feel like I have done something, I have learned, and now I'm like, okay, cool, God, I'm learning. Like, I'm ready. Like, and the thing is, might think I'm ready, but God's like, no, I need to put you in another situation.
Absolutely.
Because I need to see if you're going to stay faithful, if you're going to really stay true, and then I'm going to see if you're ready for this next spot. So that's really what I'm trying to figure out. You know, I graduate in August, and trying to figure out next steps. You know, eventually I want to be a GM of a team, professional team.
Nice.
I'm trying to run people. Like, I'm trying to impact the athlete's experience, because I think that's really important. And I'm into a lot of DEI work, just like diversity, equity, inclusion, making sure the athlete gets what they like, how they treat, like how they're supposed to be treated. Because I've been treated like crap, like, and I haven't been treated how I've been wanting to be treated. And so it's like, how can we surround ourselves in leadership positions? The only way you can do that is if leadership changes.
Absolutely.
And so I want to put myself in a leadership position. So that's literally all I'm trying to do. I'm just going with the flow. I don't know where I'm gonna end up. I really don't care, because, you know, I'm just enjoying the journey, because like I said, I've really aligned myself with God for the fact that, like, he's going to lead me in the right direction. Like, even if I might not see it right now, I'm like, I at least told someone yesterday, God got me. Like, it don't matter. It might not be what I want, but he's going to have me where I need to be. So,
and that's so beautiful that you said that. And the last thing I'm going to say, and then I had to, you know, give it over to Stat to close us out. The joy is in the journey, right?
Exactly.
And to shed some light on exactly what you just said was going back to what the enemy likes to do is the enemy likes to creep in when you're at your lowest point. And going back to your story when you said when you were hurt, all these thoughts going to your mind, and you chose to feed your depression with food, and the enemy knew that would kind of set you back a little bit, because then every time you came back to the forefront to play, it was always about your weight, always about getting in shape. So that's what the enemy tried to do. But also the ability to really, it's not a cliche saying, but let go and let God. Like, I'm on that same type of time that you on right now. Like, last year was the first year that I really told myself that I was going to take myself from the driver's seat and let God drive, and I'm in the passenger seat, just enjoying the journey and not asking no questions. And that's why we're here right now, because the car led me to see this place. And right instantly I was like, okay, God wants something out of this. And I called my brother, and he was right on board. And now we're here sitting talking to you. So I know exactly what you mean. It's very important for those who's watching. Like, if you're struggling with anything, you got to remove yourself from the driver's seat, because just like you said, it may not be what you want, but if it's in his will, it's going to happen for you. And you got to be able to accept that and keep going, because regardless of what we think we want, we don't even know what we really want, because you'll get something and it's like, this is not what I thought I would feel like, or whatever. Just like going back to UNC days, you got there and it really wasn't what you really thought it was going to be. So everything you said, I second that for real, because I'm going through that same journey. So I'll let Stat close us out though, man. Again, this was a beautiful episode, and he's right. This was our best episode so far. So I'm just excited to be a part of it for real.
Yeah. And, you know, I think at the point that we're at, you know, even for my journey, the one thing that I'm going to say is this, and I'm going to just be honest, like, looking at, you know, God going to put you where you need to be at. And when you don't worry about what type of vehicle it is, you understand it's about what type of impact you want to make. And when you look at it that way, you understand that that's why God's going to put you in the right place, because the vehicle is going to be the vehicle. That's just how you're going to be able to relate to others. But the impact is always going to be the same, because there's people that's God put in your life that only you can change with your story and your impact, and that doesn't change no matter what the vehicle is. So as you continue that journey, and for you too, Deuce, like, that's really what I would like to leave everybody with, is just don't focus on the vehicle, focus on the impact. And again, great episode, definitely our best one yet. Guys, if you got something from this, like the video, subscribe, share it with someone, follow JoJo, tap in with her. If you're an athlete, don't matter. hit her up.
Yeah.
She's got a lot to offer the game. You know, we got a lot of things that we do back in the city with Scoop and a lot of other people that we trying to give back, and we got a lot more things on the way. But again, if you guys got something from this, show us some love. And again, our goal right now is to get to 1,000 subscribers. So we want to offer as much value as we can. And this is a very valuable episode. So share this with a friend, tap in with us, continue to show love. And just remember, man, stay focused on the mission, run your race, because it's only a matter of time before you get the success that you create, man. And we appreciate you being here, JoJo.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
To
y'all.
the next one, man. We'll catch you guys on the next one from the 7 Podcast. We got Deuce, Stat, and JoJo in here, man. We out.
See y'all.
See ya.
Working on a weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes.